Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at something that might hit close to home for you, or maybe somebody, we're going to be talking about type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, it really is something that kind of just touches every single part of your life. And I think that's what we want to get into today, like explore all those impacts.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So just to kind of level set here for anyone who needs like a quick refresher, type 2 diabetes, it develops when your body just like resists insulin, or it's not making enough of it.
Right.
And insulin is important. It helps like your cells absorb glucose for energy. And without it, like enough effective insulin, I mean, sugar kind of builds up in your blood. That's when things start to like go a little haywire.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is over 37 million people in the U.S. are dealing with diabetes.
Wow.
And a lot of them don't realize how much it can actually affect just their daily lives.
And I think what's even more alarming is that 1 in 3 adults actually have prediabetes,
Oh, wow.
which is like a precursor to type 2. So it really shows how widespread this condition is. And it's kind of like a wake-up call.
It really is. So let's get into it. Like when we talk about the effects of type 2, what are some of the things that people actually experience like on a day-to-day basis? It's got to be more than just like a number on a meter, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It goes way beyond just that. I mean, think about the immediate physical symptoms. You have those blood sugar swings, and they can really throw a wrench in your day. When it spikes too high, that's hyperglycemia. And you're going to be super thirsty, have headaches, tired, need to pee all the time.
Oh, I see.
And then there's the opposite. When your blood sugar dips too low, and that's hypoglycemia.
Okay.
And you might feel dizzy, sweaty, confused, even anxious. It's like your body is running on empty. And that can be kind of scary.
It sounds like just a constant like back and forth of just trying to feel normal
It
almost.
really is a balancing act.
Yeah,
And it can be exhausting, not just physically, but emotionally, too.
I bet.
It's a lot of mental energy, constantly checking your blood sugar, watching what you eat, making sure you're taking your meds on time. It can lead to burnout really fast.
Yeah. And then I imagine there's like that anxiety too,
Oh, absolutely.
knowing that if it's not managed well, there could be those long-term consequences.
Exactly. Over time, high blood sugar can do damage to your nerves, your blood vessels, your organs. It can lead to some really serious complications,
Right?
like nerve damage. Medically, it's called neuropathy.
Okay.
And there are different kinds, like peripheral neuropathy, which affects like your hands and feet. You get tingling, numbness, even pain.
Oh, wow.
And then there's autonomic neuropathy, and that one can actually mess with like your bodily functions, digestion, heart rate.
So that's a whole lot to deal with on top of just those everyday challenges.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. You also have a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, kidney problems, eye complications, even vision loss.
Oh, gosh.
Even healing from a small cut or a wound can become a problem, increases your risk of infections. It's really a domino effect.
It is. It's like scary hearing all those long-term risks like laid out like that. It makes you realize how important it is to be proactive about it. So, are there any early warning signs that people should be looking out for?
Absolutely. If you start noticing things like excessive thirst, unexplained fatigue, slow healing wounds, or any of those blood sugar swings we talked about, it's time to see a doctor.
Okay,
It's always better to catch these things early rather than wait for them to become a bigger problem.
that makes sense. So we talked about those immediate blood sugar effects. We talked about the potential long-term stuff. But let's kind of switch gears here a little bit. What about the everyday lifestyle changes that come with like managing type 2?
Right. Well, managing type 2, it does require some pretty big changes. But what's interesting is that a lot of people kind of find a silver lining in all of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they discover like a new appreciation for their health, and they actually end up making positive changes that they might not have made otherwise.
I like that. Turning a challenge into like an opportunity to grow.
Exactly.
So, where do people usually even begin with these changes?
Well, diet is usually the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And it's not about like depriving yourself like some people think. It's about being mindful about your choices and choosing foods that help keep your blood sugar stable.
So it's more about like, shifting how you think about food, like nourishing your body instead of feeling restricted.
Exactly. It starts with understanding how different foods affect your blood sugar, like switching from white rice to brown rice.
Okay.
That can make a big difference because of the fiber content. Brown rice digests slower, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much as white rice would.
That's a good example of how even those small changes can add up.
Right.
What are some other swaps people can try?
Oh, there's tons. Swap out sugary drinks for water or unsweetened tea. You could even try infused water with fruit or herbs. And for snacks, choose almonds or Greek yogurt instead of processed stuff like chips or cookies. Those simple changes can really help control your blood sugar and improve your overall health.
It's about making choices that support your health without feeling like you're missing out.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. And of course, portion control is super important too.
Right? Even healthy food can cause problems if you eat too much.
Exactly. Moderation is key.
So speaking of healthy choices, let's talk about exercise. I know it's important for managing type 2, but finding the motivation to exercise can be tough.
It can.
Any tips for making it more fun and less like a chore?
Well, that's the whole point. It shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right.
The best exercise is the one you actually enjoy doing. So explore different activities like dancing, swimming, hiking, maybe even gardening.
Ooh, I love that you mentioned gardening. It's a
Yeah.
great way to get fresh air, some sunshine, and some light exercise all at the same time.
And it connects you with nature, which has its own benefits.
And speaking of benefits, we were talking about stress management before. How does stress affect blood sugar levels?
Well, when you're stressed, your body releases hormones like cortisol, and cortisol raises your blood sugar.
Okay.
It's part of that fight or flight response, which was useful back in the day when we had to face danger all the time. But these days, stress is more of a chronic thing. It's not just a quick response anymore.
So our bodies haven't really caught up to like the modern world where stress is just constant.
That's one way to put it. And that's why finding ways to manage stress is so important for both your mental and physical health, especially if you have diabetes.
Can you give us some examples of stress management techniques?
Sure, deep breathing exercises are super powerful. Just a few minutes a day focusing on your breath can really calm your nervous system and lower your stress levels.
I can see that.
Medication is another great option. There are lots of different kinds, so you can find one that works for you. And sometimes it's as simple as just taking a break from whatever's stressing you out. Work social media, even your own thoughts. Step away and do something you enjoy. Read, listen to music, spend some time in nature.
Just find those little moments of calm throughout the day.
Exactly, and those moments can make a huge difference in your overall well-being. Another important part of managing type 2 is understanding the role of medication.
Yeah, let's talk about that. For someone who's newly diagnosed with type 2, the idea of taking medication can be kind of scary.
Sure.
What can you tell us about how these medications work and what people can expect? Yeah, it can feel like a big step. What are like some of the common medications that people use for type 2? And like, how do they even work?
Well, there are several different types, and each one kind of works in its own way to help you manage your blood sugar. A common one is metformin,
Okay.
and it basically reduces the amount of glucose that your liver produces, and it helps your body use insulin better.
So it's like helping your body make the most of the insulin it already has.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have others like sulfonylureas,
Okay.
and those stimulate your pancreas to release more insulin. And then there are DPP-4 inhibitors
Okay.
that increase the levels of certain hormones that help regulate blood sugar. And then, of course, there's insulin therapy,
Right.
which is injecting insulin, basically replacing or supplementing what your body's not making enough of.
So it seems like there's a lot of different options out there, and it's probably tailored to each person's needs.
Yeah, absolutely. The exact medication or combination of meds that your doctor prescribes, it really depends on your specific situation. Your blood sugar levels, your overall health, your lifestyle, your preferences.
Right.
It's personalized. And sometimes it takes a bit of trial and error to find what works best for you.
I see.
But remember, medication is just one part of it.
Yeah.
It works best when you combine it with those lifestyle changes. Diet, exercise, stress management.
It sounds like it's all about that holistic approach, huh?
Exactly.
But even with all the tools and resources, it can still be really tough emotionally to manage a chronic condition like this.
It can be.
What are some things people can do to stay motivated and avoid burnout?
That's such an important question because burnout is a real issue for people with diabetes.
Yeah, I bet.
Remember that reframing we talked about earlier? Thinking about managing diabetes as self-care instead of punishment?
Right.
That can make a huge difference in your mindset and your motivation.
It's like shifting from I have to I'm choosing to, right?
Exactly. And set small, achievable goals.
Okay.
Instead of trying to change everything all at once, just focus on making gradual changes you can stick with.
So maybe start with like adding more veggies to your meals or going for a short walk a few times a week.
Exactly. And celebrate those small victories along the way. Even a little bits of progress can help keep you motivated and keep you going.
So like those little positive affirmations we hear about, like, hey, good job managing your blood sugar today, or I'm proud of myself for making those healthy choices.
Yeah, exactly. Those little reminders can go a long way. And remember, it's okay to have off days. Everyone slips up sometimes. The important thing is to learn from it and adjust if you need to. Just keep moving forward.
It's about progress, not perfection, right?
Absolutely. And remember, you're not alone in this. You have a support system. Connect with people who understand what you're going through, and don't be afraid to seek professional guidance.
There's a whole community out there ready to support you. Are there specific resources you'd recommend for people looking for information and support?
Oh, yeah, there are tons. The American Diabetes Association is a great place to start.
Okay,
They have a ton of info on their website. Plus, they have local chapters that offer support groups and programs.
that's cool.
The CDC also has a really good website with helpful tips and resources. And don't forget about online communities and forums.
Right.
Connecting with others who are going through the same thing can be super helpful, and you can feel like you're not alone.
It's amazing how technology has made it so much easier to find information and connect with people.
It really has. There are also some really great apps out there designed specifically for people with diabetes.
So cool.
Yeah, they can help you track your blood sugar, log your meals, calculate insulin doses, even connect you with healthcare providers.
It's like having a little diabetes assistant right in your pocket.
Right, and these apps can really give you more control over your health.
Well, I feel like we've covered so much today. We've explored like all the different facets of type 2 diabetes. We looked at the science behind it. We talked about lifestyle changes and the emotional toll, and really emphasized the importance of support and resources.
It's been a really in-depth look, and hopefully our listeners are feeling more informed and more empowered to take charge of their health.
For sure. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that even though type 2 diabetes comes with challenges, it doesn't have to define who you are.
Yeah.
You can still live a full and vibrant life.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's all about finding that balance, accepting the challenges, and focusing on what you can control.
To all of our listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Absolutely.
We encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep connecting with others. You're not alone in this.
And until next time, stay curious and stay well.